Picture this. You're enjoying a romantic dinner with your spouse, checking your phone to see how your kids are doing at home. You open your home security app, expecting to see your teenage babysitter reading bedtime stories or cleaning up toys. Instead, you watch in absolute horror as she drags something heavy across your backyard in the dead of night, digs a hole near your children's swing set, and buries what looks like a body-sized bundle. Your blood runs cold as you realize your children are sleeping just 50 feet away from whatever nightmare is unfolding in your own backyard. Welcome back to Confessions from the AITA, where we uncover the most chilling true crime mysteries that will keep you awake at night. I'm your host, and today's story will make you question everyone you trust with your family's safety. If you think you know how far someone will go to hide their darkest secrets, think again. Make sure to like this video and subscribe with notifications on, because what unfolds in this Texas suburb will shake you to your core. It was a crisp Saturday evening in October 2024 when Michael and Jennifer Rodriguez decided to celebrate their 10th wedding anniversary with a quiet dinner at their favorite restaurant in suburban Dallas, Texas. The couple, both 34 years old, had been looking forward to this rare night out for weeks. Michael worked as a software engineer for a tech startup, while Jennifer was a pediatric nurse at Children's Medical Center. Between their demanding careers and raising their two young children, Emma, 8, and Lucas, 5, they rarely had time for themselves. Finding a trustworthy babysitter had always been a challenge for the Rodriguez family. They'd gone through several sitters over the years, dealing with everything from teenagers who spent the entire evening on their phones to older women who fell asleep on the couch. That's why they felt so fortunate when they found Ashley Chen, a 17-year-old high school senior who seemed like a godsend. Ashley had been recommended by their neighbors, the Williamses, who raved about her reliability and natural way with children. She was an honor student at Highland Park High School, volunteered at the local animal shelter, and came from what appeared to be a stable, loving family. Her parents, Dr. David Chen, a cardiologist, and Susan Chen, a real estate agent, were well-respected members of the community. Ashley had been babysitting for various families in the neighborhood for over 2 years and had never had a single complaint. The Rodriguez family had been using Ashley's services for about 6 months, and she had quickly become their go-to sitter. Emma and Lucas adored her, always asking when Miss Ashley would be coming over again. She was patient, creative, and responsible. Everything parents could want in a babysitter. Ashley would arrive promptly, engage the children in educational activities, help with homework, and always left the house cleaner than she found it. On this particular evening, Ashley arrived at 6:30 p.m., just as she always did. She greeted Michael and Jennifer with her usual bright smile and immediately knelt down to hug Emma and Lucas, who came running to the door when they heard her voice. The children had already eaten dinner, but Ashley had brought supplies to make homemade cookies with them, a special treat she'd planned for the evening. "Don't worry about anything," Ashley told Jennifer, as she helped Emma tie an apron around her waist. "We're going to bake cookies, maybe watch a movie, and I'll have them in bed by 8:30. You two just focus on having a wonderful anniversary dinner." Michael and Jennifer exchanged a grateful look. This was exactly why they trusted Ashley so completely. She wasn't just watching their children, she was creating positive experiences and memories for them. Before leaving, Michael showed Ashley the new security system they'd recently installed. The house was equipped with cameras in the main living areas and motion sensors throughout the property. "We can check in on everything from our phones," he explained, pulling up the app to show her the various camera feeds. "The backyard camera has night vision, so it picks up everything, even in the dark. Just so you know it's there." Ashley nodded and smiled. "That's so smart. It must give you such peace of mind, knowing you can check on the house anytime." As Michael and Jennifer drove to the restaurant, they felt completely at ease. Their children were in capable hands, their home was secure, and they finally had a chance to reconnect as a couple. They chose a quiet Italian restaurant about 20 minutes from their house, far enough away to feel like a real escape, but close enough to get home quickly if needed. The dinner started perfectly. They talked about everything except work and kids, their dreams for the future, places they wanted to travel, and memories from their early dating days. It felt like the old times, before the beautiful chaos of parenthood had consumed their lives. Around 8:45 p.m., Jennifer decided to check the Nanny Cam app, more out of habit than concern. "I just want to see if the kids are asleep," she told Michael, pulling out her phone. The living room camera showed the space was empty, which made sense since it was past bedtime. The kitchen was clean, with what looked like fresh cookies cooling on the counter. "Ashley's amazing," Jennifer said, showing Michael the screen. "Look how spotless everything is." But when Jennifer switched to the backyard camera feed, her smile immediately disappeared. The night vision showed a figure moving around in their yard, but it wasn't the children playing or Ashley taking out trash. The person was dragging something large and heavy across the lawn toward the back corner of their property, near the old oak tree where they'd hung the children's swing set. "Michael," Jennifer whispered, her voice tight with fear. "Look at this." Michael leaned over to see the screen, and his blood ran cold. On the grainy night vision feed, they could clearly see Ashley Chen dragging what appeared to be a large bundle wrapped in what looked like a bedsheet or tarp. The bundle was roughly the size and shape of a human body, and Ashley was struggling with its weight as she pulled it across the grass. "What the hell is she doing?" Michael said, his voice barely above a whisper. They watched in horrified silence as Ashley dropped the bundle near the oak tree and disappeared from the camera's view. A few minutes later, she returned carrying a shovel from their garden shed. The couple sat frozen in their restaurant booth, watching their trusted babysitter dig a hole in their backyard in the middle of the night. "Oh my God," Jennifer gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "Where are Emma and Lucas? Are they okay? What if she..." Michael was already standing up, throwing money on the table. "We need to call 911 right now," he said, his voice shaking. "And we need to get home immediately." As they rushed out of the restaurant, Jennifer kept the phone app open, watching Ashley's every move. The teenager worked methodically, digging a hole that appeared to be about 3 feet deep and 6 feet long. She then dragged the mysterious bundle to the edge of the hole and, with considerable effort, rolled it inside. "She's burying something in our yard," Jennifer said, her voice breaking. "While our children are in the house, what kind of monster have we been trusting with our babies?" The 20-minute drive home felt like an eternity. Michael called 911 from the car, explaining the situation to a dispatcher who seemed as shocked as they were. "We're watching our babysitter bury something that looks like a body in our backyard through our security camera," he said, his voice steady despite his terror. "Our children are in the house with her. We need police there immediately." The dispatcher assured them that units were being dispatched and advised them not to enter the house until police arrived. "Stay on the line with me," she said. "Keep watching the camera feed and tell me everything you see." As they pulled into their neighborhood, they could see police cars already surrounding their house, their red and blue lights casting eerie shadows on the suburban street. Neighbors had come out of their houses, drawn by the commotion, and were standing in small groups on their lawns, whispering and pointing. Michael and Jennifer ran toward their front door, but were stopped by a police officer. "Are you the homeowners?" he asked. "I'm Officer Martinez with Dallas PD. We need you to stay back while we secure the scene." "Our children!" Jennifer cried. "Are Emma and Lucas okay? Please tell me they're safe." "Your children are fine," Officer Martinez assured them. "They're both asleep in their beds, completely unharmed. We've checked on them, and they appear to have no idea what's been happening outside." The relief that washed over Michael and Jennifer was overwhelming, but it was quickly replaced by a new wave of questions and fear. If their children were safe, what had Ashley been burying in their backyard? Detective Sarah Williams, a seasoned investigator with the Dallas Police Department's Major Crimes Unit, arrived on the scene within 30 minutes. She had been working cases involving crimes against children for over a decade, but the call about a babysitter burying something while children slept nearby had caught her attention immediately. "Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez," Detective Williams said, approaching the couple who were now sitting in the back of an ambulance, wrapped in blankets and still in shock. I need you to walk me through everything you saw on your security cameras tonight. Michael pulled out his phone and showed Detective Williams the recorded footage from their security app. The detective watched in silence as Ashley dragged the bundle across the yard, dug the hole, and carefully buried whatever she had been hiding. Have you noticed any unusual behavior from Ashley recently? Detective Williams asked. Any changes in her demeanor, unexplained absences, or strange requests? Jennifer thought for a moment. Actually, yes. About 2 weeks ago, she asked if she could store some of her things in our garage temporarily. She said her family was having work done on their house and needed space for some boxes. We said yes, of course. We trusted her completely. Did you see what was in these boxes? No, Michael replied. She brought them over when we weren't home and put them in the back corner of the garage. We never thought to look. Should we have? Before Detective Williams could answer, Officer Martinez approached with an update that would change everything. Detective, we've made contact with Ashley Chen. She's asking to speak with you immediately. She says she wants to confess to something, but she's not making much sense. She keeps saying she was trying to protect the children. Detective Williams found Ashley Chen sitting in the back of a police cruiser, her hands cuffed behind her back, tears streaming down her face. The confident, cheerful teenager that the Rodriguez family had trusted with their children was gone, replaced by a frightened young woman who looked far younger than her 17 years. Ashley, Detective Williams said gently, sliding into the seat beside her. I'm Detective Williams. I understand you want to talk to me about what happened tonight. Ashley nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. I need to tell you everything. I need to explain why I did what I did. Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez are good people, and Emma and Lucas, they're just innocent children. They don't deserve any of this. Any of what, Ashley? Help me understand what's been going on. Ashley took a shaky breath. It started about 3 months ago. I was babysitting for the Hendersons, another family in the neighborhood. Their daughter, Sophie, is only 6 years old. One night, while I was putting her to bed, she told me something that made my blood run cold. Detective Williams leaned forward, sensing that this was the beginning of something much larger than a simple case of a babysitter acting strangely. Sophie told me that her uncle, Mr. Henderson's brother, had been touching her inappropriately when he came to visit, Ashley continued, her voice growing stronger as she spoke. She described things that no 6-year-old should know about. She begged me not to tell anyone because her uncle had threatened to hurt her family if she ever spoke about it. The detective felt a chill run down her spine. What did you do with this information? I didn't know what to do, Ashley said, fresh tears starting to flow. I'm just a teenager. I've never dealt with anything like this before, but I knew I couldn't just ignore it. So I started researching online, trying to figure out how to help Sophie without putting her in more danger. Ashley explained that her research had led her down a dark rabbit hole of information about child abuse, predators, and the failures of the system to protect vulnerable children. She learned about cases where children who reported abuse were not believed, or worse, were returned to dangerous situations because there wasn't enough evidence to remove them from their homes. I became obsessed with protecting the children I babysat for, Ashley said. I started paying closer attention to everything, the way parents interacted with their kids, whether the children seemed afraid or showed signs of abuse, any adults who spent time around the families. Detective Williams was beginning to understand where this was heading, but she needed Ashley to continue her story. About 6 weeks ago, I was babysitting for Emma and Lucas when Mr. Rodriguez's brother came over to pick up some tools from the garage, Ashley continued. His name is Carlos, and he's been staying with the family occasionally while he looks for a new apartment after his divorce. Michael and Jennifer, who were listening from nearby, exchanged confused glances. Michael's brother Carlos had indeed been staying with them intermittently over the past few months, but they had never mentioned any concerns about him around the children. Carlos seemed normal at first, Ashley said, but then I noticed how he looked at Emma. It was the same way Sophie Henderson had described her uncle looking at her. And when Carlos thought I wasn't watching, I saw him try to get Emma alone, asking her to help him in the garage or offering to read her bedtime stories when her parents weren't around. Detective Williams felt her stomach tighten. Did you see Carlos do anything inappropriate to Emma? Not exactly, Ashley admitted. But Emma started acting differently after his visits. She became withdrawn, didn't want to take baths, and had nightmares. All the signs I had researched online about children who were being abused. Ashley explained that she had tried to talk to Emma about Carlos, but the 8-year-old would clam up whenever his name was mentioned, just like Sophie Henderson had done when asked about her uncle. I knew I had to do something, Ashley said, but I also knew that if I reported my suspicions and I was wrong, I would destroy an innocent man's life. And if I was right but couldn't prove it, Emma might end up in even more danger. So what did you decide to do? Detective Williams asked, though she was beginning to suspect she knew the answer. Ashley's voice dropped to barely a whisper. I decided to gather evidence. I started taking pictures of Emma's behavior, documenting the times Carlos was alone with her, and trying to find proof of what I suspected was happening. And did you find proof? Ashley nodded slowly. Last week, I installed a small camera in the garage where Carlos often took Emma. I told myself I was protecting her, that I was being a responsible adult by gathering evidence before making accusations. Detective Williams felt a chill as she realized what Ashley was about to confess. What did the camera record? It recorded Carlos touching Emma inappropriately, Ashley said, her voice breaking. It recorded him threatening her, telling her that if she ever told anyone, something bad would happen to her family. It recorded everything I needed to prove that my suspicions were right. The detective was quiet for a moment, processing this information. Ashley, if you had evidence of child abuse, why didn't you immediately contact the police or Child Protective Services? Because I was scared, Ashley admitted. I was scared that the system would fail Emma the way it fails so many children. I was scared that Carlos would find out I had reported him and would hurt Emma or her family before he could be arrested. I was scared that no one would believe a 17-year-old babysitter over a respected adult. So instead, you decided to take matters into your own hands? Ashley nodded, tears flowing freely now. I confronted Carlos tonight. I told him I had evidence of what he was doing to Emma, and I demanded that he leave the Rodriguez family alone and never come back. He laughed at me, Ashley said, her voice filled with pain and anger. He said no one would believe me, that I was just a stupid kid who didn't understand what I was seeing. He said he would tell the Rodriguez family that I was making up stories about him, and they would never let me babysit for them again. And then? Ashley took a deep breath. And then he threatened to hurt Emma if I ever told anyone what I thought I knew. He said he knew where I lived, where I went to school, and that he could make my life very difficult if I didn't mind my own business. Detective Williams could see where this was heading, but she needed Ashley to tell her exactly what had happened. I panicked, Ashley said. I had brought a baseball bat with me for protection, and when Carlos threatened Emma and me, I hit him with it. I didn't mean to kill him, I swear. I just wanted him to stop threatening us, but he fell and hit his head on the concrete floor of the garage, and there was so much blood. The detective felt her heart racing. Carlos is dead? Ashley nodded miserably. I checked for a pulse, tried to wake him up, but he was gone. I had killed someone. Even if I was trying to protect Emma, I had committed murder. So you decided to bury his body in the Rodriguez family's backyard? I didn't know what else to do, Ashley said. I couldn't call the police because I had killed someone. I couldn't leave his body in the garage because the Rodriguez family would find it when they came home. I thought if I buried him in the backyard, I could figure out what to do next. Maybe I could make it look like he had just disappeared, left town after his divorce. Ashley, where is the camera you used to record Carlos abusing Emma? It's in one of the boxes I stored in the Rodriguez family's garage, Ashley said. Along with all the research I had done about child abuse and the photos I had taken documenting Emma's behavior changes. Detective Williams knew that the next few hours would be crucial in determining whether Ashley Chen was a vigilante hero who had protected a child from a predator, or a disturbed teenager who had committed murder based on misguided suspicions. The truth would prove to be more complex than anyone could have imagined. Detective Williams immediately ordered a search of the Rodriguez family's garage, while crime scene technicians began the careful process of excavating the backyard burial site. What they found would turn this case from a simple murder investigation into one of the most complex and morally ambiguous cases in Dallas police history. In the boxes Ashley had stored in the garage, investigators discovered a treasure trove of evidence that painted a disturbing picture. The hidden camera Ashley had installed contained hours of footage showing Carlos Rodriguez engaging in inappropriate behavior with his 8-year-old niece Emma. The recordings were clear and undeniable. Carlos was indeed sexually abusing the child, just as Ashley had suspected. But the evidence went far beyond just the camera footage. Ashley's boxes contained detailed journals documenting her observations of Emma's behavior, photographs showing the child's emotional state before and after Carlos's visits, and extensive research about child sexual abuse and the failures of the reporting system. Dr. Patricia Moore, a forensic psychologist specializing in child abuse cases, was called in to review Ashley's evidence. This young woman conducted a more thorough investigation than many trained professionals, Dr. Moore told Detective Williams. Her documentation is meticulous, her observations are accurate, and her concerns were completely justified. The excavation of the backyard burial site confirmed Ashley's confession. Carlos Rodriguez's body was found wrapped in a tarp, with evidence of blunt force trauma to the head consistent with being struck by a baseball bat. The medical examiner determined that Carlos had died from a combination of the head injury and subsequent bleeding. When presented with the evidence against his brother, Michael Rodriguez was devastated. "I had no idea," he told Detective Williams, tears streaming down his face. "Carlos has been struggling since his divorce, and we were just trying to help him get back on his feet. If I had known he was hurting Emma, I would have killed him myself." Jennifer Rodriguez was equally shocked and horrified. As a pediatric nurse, she was trained to recognize signs of child abuse, but she had missed the warning signs in her own daughter. "Emma never said anything," she said. "She never acted like anything was wrong when Carlos was around. How could I have been so blind?" The investigation revealed that Emma had been too frightened to tell her parents about the abuse. Carlos had convinced her that if she ever spoke about their special secret, something terrible would happen to her family. The 8-year-old had been carrying this burden alone, with only Ashley Chen recognizing the signs of her distress. Child psychologist Dr. Rebecca Martinez was brought in to interview Emma in a safe, controlled environment. The interview confirmed everything Ashley had suspected and documented. Emma described months of inappropriate touching and threats from her uncle, along with her fear that telling anyone would result in harm to her parents and little brother. "Emma is a very brave little girl," Dr. Martinez told the Rodriguez family after the interview. "She was trying to protect all of you by keeping this secret, even though it was causing her tremendous pain. Ashley Chen may have saved your daughter from years of continued abuse." The legal implications of the case were complex. District Attorney Rebecca Walsh faced a difficult decision about how to proceed with charges against Ashley Chen. On one hand, Ashley had committed murder. She had killed a man with a baseball bat and then buried his body to cover up the crime. On the other hand, she had been protecting a child from sexual abuse and had acted when the system had failed to do so. "This is one of the most challenging cases I've encountered in my career," DA Walsh told reporters. "We have a 17-year-old girl who took the law into her own hands to protect a child from a predator. While we cannot condone vigilante justice, we must also consider the circumstances that led to this tragic situation." The case sparked a national debate about child protection, the failures of the reporting system, and the lengths to which people will go to protect innocent children. Ashley Chen became a polarizing figure. Some viewed her as a hero who had saved Emma Rodriguez from continued abuse, while others saw her as a dangerous vigilante who had committed murder. Dr. David Chen and Susan Chen, Ashley's parents, were devastated by their daughter's actions, but stood by her completely. "Our daughter saw a child in danger and felt she had no choice but to act," Dr. Chen said in a statement. "We are proud of her courage in protecting Emma, even though we wish she had come to us for help instead of handling this situation alone." The Rodriguez family found themselves in an impossible position. They were grateful that Ashley had protected Emma from further abuse, but they were also traumatized by the knowledge that a murder had been committed in their home and that a body had been buried in their backyard where their children played. After weeks of deliberation, DA Walsh announced her decision regarding charges against Ashley Chen. "After careful consideration of all the evidence and circumstances, we have decided to charge Ashley Chen with voluntary manslaughter rather than murder," she said. While her actions resulted in the death of Carlos Rodriguez, the evidence clearly shows that she was acting to protect a child from ongoing sexual abuse. Ashley pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 5 years in juvenile detention, with the possibility of early release for good behavior. The judge, the Honorable Patricia Morrison, acknowledged the unique circumstances of the case in her sentencing statement. "This court recognizes that Ashley Chen was faced with an impossible situation," Judge Morrison said. "She witnessed evidence of child sexual abuse and felt that the traditional reporting channels would fail to protect the victim. While this court cannot condone taking the law into one's own hands, we also cannot ignore the fact that Ms. Chen's actions prevented further harm to an innocent child." The case led to significant changes in how child abuse reports are handled in Texas. New protocols were established to ensure that concerns raised by babysitters, teachers, and other caregivers are taken seriously and investigated promptly. The Emma Rodriguez Act was passed by the Texas legislature, requiring mandatory training for all childcare providers on recognizing and reporting signs of abuse. Ashley Chen served 3 years of her sentence before being released on parole. She used her time in detention to earn her high school diploma and begin studying child psychology through correspondence courses. Upon her release, she became an advocate for child protection and worked with organizations dedicated to preventing child sexual abuse. Emma Rodriguez received extensive therapy to help her process the trauma of the abuse and the violent events that followed. With the support of her family and professional counselors, she was able to heal and move forward with her life. The Rodriguez family moved to a new home in a different neighborhood, seeking a fresh start away from the memories of that terrible night. The case of Ashley Chen and the Rodriguez family remains one of the most controversial in recent Texas legal history. It raises difficult questions about justice, protection, and the lengths to which people will go to defend the innocent. While Ashley's actions resulted in the death of a man, they also saved a child from continued sexual abuse and brought attention to the failures in our child protection systems. As we conclude this shocking story, we are left with complex questions about right and wrong, justice, and vigilantism. Ashley Chen saw a child in danger and felt she had no choice but to act, even when that action led to tragic consequences. Her story serves as a reminder that the world is not always black and white, and that sometimes good people are forced to make impossible choices in impossible situations. What do you think about Ashley Chen's actions? Was she a hero who protected an innocent child, or a vigilante who took justice into her own hands? How can we better protect children from predators while also ensuring that justice is served through proper legal channels? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story moved you, please like this video and subscribe to Confessions from the AITA for more complex true crime cases that challenge our understanding of right and wrong. Remember, the safety of children is everyone's responsibility. If you suspect a child is being abused, please contact your local authorities or call the National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4-A-CHILD. Sometimes the most confessions from the AITA are the ones that remind us of our duty to protect the most vulnerable members of our society.